Yeah, I think that that's an easy trap to fall into, right? Particularly now because we have things like Slack and you're able to connect with people that you can be like, hey, we're talking all the time. But if you don't actually sit down and say, what is it that we're trying to accomplish here? Where are we going? And people surprisingly want a lot more feedback than you might imagine, right? So they want to know, am I doing well or not? And I found that people are really comfortable being told they're not doing well as long as they've got a path to be able to start doing well.
I love it. Yes. And that's been one of my frustrations over the years. I remember my first job in Brazil, and I was like, 3 months in, I was like, what can I do to get better? And the answer was normally like, no, you're doing fine. I'm like, really? So and I know it goes back to personality. That's a little bit of my personality too. I think, it's hard to generalize, but when you are trying to get better, Elon Musk always talk about having negative feedback, and that's really the only way that you can get better.
Where do you get your negative feedback right now?
I try to ask people, what can we do better? What can we do better? And it's tough, because a lot of times it's tough to get some of the negative feedback, right? But it's good. I love it. You and I were just talking about the camera here, how to make it better, and that's great.
Yeah, so I think that for a very long time, I was one of those people that really liked to tell people like, hey, you're doing great. Hey, this is so exciting. And then I had a mentor that, I remember distinctly one time I had met with him at night. And then the next day he called me up and he said, Vance, 3 things. First, if you're going to show up at my house on Sunday night, you need to start dressing better. Do you own a suit? And I had been like, no, I don't own a suit. And he was like, well, you need to get one. And so I'll teach you how to do it. So bring your checkbook, come over here. We're going to go get one. Then he asked me some question making reference to something that I had said about in the news. So he wanted me to send him an article. So it proved to me he was listening to me. And then the third thing he said is, are you putting on weight? And I had to be like, yeah, I guess I am. And it was one of those moments where at first I felt horrible about this, right? He says I don't dress well and that I'm putting on weight. But then I look around and I'm like, wait a second, why didn't anybody else tell me this, right? Like, and if you don't have somebody around you willing to tell you those things, then you just don't know. So I come in with the assumption that once I've started to build rapport with somebody,
yeah.
If I see something that I think they would want to change if they knew that they were doing it incorrectly, I just try and I put it there. And then if they don't accept it or it causes consternation, then I back way off. But it has really increased the velocity with which I can build friendships because you find out that most people don't give negative feedback.
I love it. That's exactly right. Yeah, I love it. I just love that. The only way we can keep improving, right? Yeah, and then I want to get your insights on the bad side of being you may want to call type A personality or a driver or whatever. I mean, I consider myself one of those, and I consider myself one of those as well, based on personality tests and whatever else. It's a tough one, man. Sometimes it's almost like you have a monster inside your head, and then it's 12 a.m. trying to go to bed. Last night I was just writing some stuff on my platform there where we keep our tasks and ideas. But it's great, it's great because you keep evolving the business, but man, it got tired.
Yeah, I think there was something, I was actually thinking about this today. Running really helps me. And I have never been like one of those people where I'm like, oh, I just love my run. The only thing I love about my run is finishing it. But while I'm doing it, it allows me to get outside of my own normal thoughts and pop out. And one of the things that I realize is my personality type, it is very easy to make observations about what other people are doing wrong. And if I put that level of reflection on myself, then I move forward a lot faster. But it's so much easier for me to be focused on what other people aren't doing to keep up with how fast and how far I'm going. So I really try and focus as best I can to be like, for everything I'm dishing out, like, am I taking it? And I think that causes quite a bit of internal angst. So I think that maybe that knob is turned up too high all the time, but I don't know.
I love it. Yeah, I can see that. And a lot of times, you have friends, and sometimes I feel that you want to help some of the friends on some areas that, you learn from them, and you want to help in a different area. And sometimes I get a little frustrated when you're trying to help. And like you said, if the person doesn't want to help, then probably should be focusing on yourself and trying to improve yourself a little more.
There is this crazy YouTuber that people should look up, but he's just giant of a man. His name's Wes Watson. He's got huge arms and tattoos all over his body. He was in prison. I think he was like a bad dude for a really long time. But one of the things that he said that really struck me was he was saying, "Hey Wes," he was saying that somebody had asked him a question. "Hey Wes, why is it that I can't get my nephews to follow what I'm telling them to do?" Da 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 da. And he says, "Well, people don't listen to you if they don't want to be like you." And that was like a nail to my heart, right? Because that is one of those things that if people aren't asking for your advice, or they aren't responding really positively to your feedback,
right,
then you need to take a look at yourself and say, well, maybe I'm not right now emulating a person that they want to be. And that's when you got to be like, all right, well, what do I have to do to be somebody that's worthy of being admired so that they would want to listen?
I love it. That's powerful right there. I love it a lot. I like it. Yeah.
You're such a gentle talker. So like having the bounce back and forth, are you like this with your business meetings?
No, I'm intense. I'm fairly intense. Yeah, very intense. So intense. I try to be respectful, but we want to get things done. One business philosophy that we have is every task has an owner, and it's one person, not you, one person, right? And everyone knows who that person would be. And the thing is, if you cannot get done in time, someone needs to get done in time. And I tell my team, look, if you're busy because some of the part-time folks have school and whatever, let me know because I'll get it done. You see, but that's, and once in a while we drop the ball. Like we had one instance a few weeks ago, but that's one way I like to at least keep the ball moving. We have the task, we have the honor, we have the deadline. If you get it, nice. If you don't get it, let me know. I'm going to get it done. Someone is going to get it done, so that's just one example that one of the philosophies,
Thanks for checking out this podcast short. If you like this interview, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and hit that bell so you always get notified about this podcast. And if you're really interested in conversations like this, you may want to consider joining the Articulate Ventures Network. To find out more, go to network.articulate.ventures.